Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. Hope you are all doing well. This time around we have some very interesting Easter eggs to go over in Battlefield 2042. The Phantom program seems to be returning. For anybody who remembers that all the way back from Battlefield 4, this was the biggest Easter egg hunt of them all, definitely one of the most complicated ones, and I'm sure it's going to be no different here. I think with Battlefield 2042 coming to the end of its lifespan, as the new Battlefield game is kind of around the corner, this is going to be the big one. Last time I took part in one in BF4, it culminated in the unlocking of a crossbow, so I'm hoping it's going to be something really cool like a new weapon. I know the Phantom program has also been part of Battlefield 5 and 1 and other games since then, so this is kind of like a generational thing that comes around, so we're going to dig into all of that in a second. Before we do though, as always, if you guys enjoy the content on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Plenty more content to come on Battlefield in the future. But it is a brand new week of the War Machine event here, so let's kick things off by running over the new weekly missions and what game modes are available. So for the weekly missions this time around, on tier 1 we have 5 enemies killed, 1 vehicle destroyed, 5 kills and assists with vehicles, so those are all pretty easy. Moving on to tier 2, 300 damage repaired to vehicles, again quite easy there, 2 multi-kills performed, and then 30 kills and assists, or squad assists, you know, doubling the mission progression. So then for tier 3 we've got 1,000 damage inflicted with shoulder launched missiles, 10 kills in 1 round, and then 10 headshot kills with assault rifles, and for the bonus here, 2 vehicles destroyed with Liz's TV missile. So overall, a pretty easy week if you, like me, and you've not gotten the AN94 just yet. Hopefully, this should pretty much get you there. Now, game-wise mode this week is actually going to be the same again for the War Machine event, so we've got Domination and we have Rush Override. As far as I know, the maps are going to be exactly the same. There is a third game mode coming. King of the Hill is on the slate at some point, but I believe that one is going to be coming at the start of next week. According to the Battle Pass, this is a 4-week event, so we've had 2 weeks so far, so I suppose it would make sense to have 2 weeks of Domination and Rush Override, and then 2 weeks of King of the Hill, maybe with those 2 game modes mixed in there as well. Other than that, you've got your regular Conquest and Breakthrough game modes, and then in Portal, we've got Bad Company 2 Deja Vu, which of course is basically just Conquest and Rush on all of the Bad Company maps, and then TDM of Ages, 16 versus 16 across multiple Battlefield eras. Okay, with that said, let's jump into the juicy Easter egg hunting that's going on at the moment, what you guys can unlock, where all the locations are, and what's left to be uncovered. First of all, full disclosure here, massive shout out to the Easter egg Discord. I have not put any of these resources together myself, I've just taken it from there. I want to shine a light on this so you guys can have fun and partake in this for yourselves. So first of all, you need to host a Portal server over on the Haven map. Once you've done that, I recommend taking the Nightbird as it's the quickest way to get around the map, and you want to come down to this garage here on the D1 flag, and if you go in there, you should find a radio that you can interact with on the ground, and if you do, you'll hear a familiar voice telling you this.
Time to tell you who I really am. You've trusted me as a voice in the shadows, some warrior spirit trying to shepherd the soon-to-be dead. Because I'm the one who should be dead. I'm Hannah Shui. The Phantom program saved me, but we need you if we're going to save everybody else. The time to move against Blackburn is now. That information we recovered from the Boreas facility, time for it to go public. Everyone needs to know what Blackburn has done to the Nopads. And I can't think of anyone better to shine a light on the truth.
So Hannah, of course, was one of the characters from the campaign in Battlefield 4. There's actually a narrative moment in that game where you've got her and Kimball Graves, I think he's called, on a piece of rope from a helicopter, I think it is, and you have to decide which one of them you want to let go, essentially which one of them is gonna die. I think we all assumed that Hannah was dead, but apparently she is alive and well. Whether that's going to tie into any sort of narrative for the next Battlefield game, as we're almost certain it's going to be getting a campaign, I couldn't tell you guys. So once you've done this, you're also going to get a new weapon charm, and this is actually the Phantom Project logo from back in Battlefield 4. So what you need to do now is exit out of the round, equip the charm on your weapon, and make sure that you have a thermal sight equipped as well, because we're going to be using that a good deal. Then you want to load the Haven map back up again, but this time go back to the radio and interact. You basically have to have interacted with this radio for any of the other steps to work, even if you've already unlocked the charm. Then you need to have the charm equipped on your weapon, and you're going to need a thermal scope as well, so make sure you've done all of those 3 things. Now the next bit gets kind of complicated. If you head inside of this building here on the A1 flag, you'll see a familiar name on the locker, Kevin Simpson, who of course famously appeared in the Phantom Project for Battlefield 4. Now if you crouch down and look underneath this locker, you will find a piece of paper with some numbers and letters on it. And I believe there are a few different papers. In fact, I think there's 3 of them that can spawn here each time you spin up the server. So the one you guys see may not be the same as mine, but what the numbers mean on this piece of paper, we haven't really figured out yet, and we're going to come back to that. But I believe at least what the letters are is the order of items that you need to find around the map. Now, depending on which piece of paper you have, this is actually going to spawn some items around the map that you can only see with a thermal scope. And there are 3 different kinds of item. There is a valve from one of the Battlefield 1 Easter eggs, the skull from the Phantom Project Battlefield 4 Easter egg, and then a pair of headphones, which I believe are also from an older Battlefield 1 Easter egg. And where these are going to spawn for you is going to be different depending on the piece of paper that you found. So I'm going to link you all the resources down below, all of the images that you'll need. So whichever piece of paper you have, you can use the corresponding images to find all of these items. Then if you head all the way over to the wreck plane up at the top of the map, you will actually find all 3 of these items together, but they are interactable. So presumably what the paper is conveying here is the number of times you have to press each of the buttons and the order that you need to press them in. Now the order is pretty self-explanatory. So as far as I understand this, I think what we have to do is go around and find the objects that appear at those certain flags in the right order, and that is then the order that you're going to need to input into the down wreckage here at the top where you've got the 3 buttons. However, you can press these buttons multiple times, and once you've hit any one of them 25 times, it will actually flash indicating that you've made some sort of a reset, or at least that's what people think. Now, how many times you actually have to press them is probably going to be corresponded here by the 3 numbers at the top, 3 buttons, 3 different sets of numbers here, but obviously these numbers are way too high, so it's probably going to be some sort of a mathematical equation here. Is it like 6 minus 1 equals 5? Is it 6 plus 1 equals 7 for the first item and the number of times that you have to press it? Nobody really knows yet, and we're still working on that and trying to figure it out, and that's pretty much where we're up to with the Haven Easter eggs. Outside of that though, there's also been something very interesting found on the Kaleidoscope map. So if you head into the central building and go all the way up to the top floor here, on one of the desks, if you destroy a stack of paper, there is a hidden message underneath, and you can see it has the Phantom Skull on there, so it's obviously relating to the same Easter egg. And here we actually have some numbers written in Korean. As of yet, these numbers don't really mean anything to us. We don't really know how to decipher them or where to use them. It could well be that we have to finish the Haven Easter egg first, and then head on to the next map, which could be Kaleidoscope, for the next part of the puzzle. And then if things weren't already complicated enough, over on Stranded, people have found a bunch of weapon crates with pictures of various weapons in the game. So here are some of the icons that have been found so far. We have the Kar 98, the Bren LMG, the Thompson, the Panzerschreck, the Spaz shotgun, and the AN-94. Now, obviously, the AN-94 recently came to the game. Is that what this is referring to? Is this actually going to be part of the Phantom Prospect puzzle or the Easter egg as well? We don't really know, but what I can be fairly certain of is that this Easter egg is going to be very long, complicated, and convoluted if it's going to be anything like the Battlefield 4 Phantom Project one. Now, in addition to that, there are a bunch of older Easter eggs that have been re-enabled by DICE. So when they originally made these, you only had a certain amount of time to do them, or like they were only active during that certain season of the game. But now DICE have, for whatever reason, decided to reactivate a bunch of these. So I'm going to link all of my videos in the description to help you guys find and complete those Easter eggs for yourselves. At the moment, it's not really certain if they're just doing this out of goodwill. After all, the game is kind of coming to a close here, so why not allow people to get all of those Easter eggs, On the other hand, this Phantom Prospect Easter egg could be so complicated that you have to have all of the necessary player cards, weapon charms, and all the rest of it from all the other Easter eggs to finish the Phantom Prospect one. If so, this means it's going to be open to very, very few dedicated players indeed. But this is really cool, man. I love when DICE do this kind of stuff. It's always pretty unexpected and comes out of the blue. Massive shout out to the guys at the Battlefield Easter egg community. I'm going to link the Discord there down below if you want to join for more information, or maybe even to pitch in helping look around the map and figuring out some of these puzzles. But that's all we've got so far. I will be sure to make another video on this if a lot more is uncovered and fill you guys in there. As always, guys, leave me your thoughts below. Let me know what you think about this. Are you going to head into some Easter egg hunting of your own? Have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next video.